Well, hey, welcome back, everybody. Vic here, along with Skunk, and we're going to welcome back Mr. Yuri Diogenes. Right? Is that how I say it? Pronounce it right?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Diogenes.
Diogenes. Okay.
Diogenes.
Yeah.
I'm glad you had to say that, Vic.
Oh, yeah. So for those who don't know, Yuri was our very first guest on the podcast, and
Wow, the very first. Crazy,
yeah,
right?
I know. And so, just a little background: Yuri is you're a best-selling author, man. You've written quite a few books, technical,
Yeah.
and then you wrote some other books outside of the tech space. You are quite busy with a lot of technical circuits, I guess, speaking events, things like that, and you're also an Iron Maiden fan. So, heck yeah, yeah, absolutely. And then we were just talking about jiu-jitsu before we started the podcast and talking about competition. So, yeah, Skunk actually started training at the gym, and we've been waiting for him to come back.
Oh, really?
I did talk to Deb. Yeah,
nice.
I said maybe I told her to hit me back up, and this month's already, or May is actually kind of crazy, but yeah, hopefully in June. I mean, I think I told you, Yuri, that I'd had I jacked up my rib. Like right when I started, I was loving it. I went on to tour, and I came back, and like one of the first times on the mat, I just a stupid takedown, hit wrong, and I tried to go back, and I was really jacked up for a while, man. So yeah, trying to, no more touring. I'm not touring right now, and I'm happy to be like you're about to be traveling quite a bit, doing, I guess, seminars and stuff like that. Are you promoting a new book, or what's going on?
So I actually lead a program at Microsoft for women in cybersecurity, and I travel twice a year to Romania to finalize the class. Let's put this way. So in May, I'm going to Romania to finish this program and also to speak in some events there. And then from Romania, from Bucharest, I actually fly to Tel Aviv, going to Israel also.
Okay.
Because Microsoft is there, so I have some visits to do. I mean, the main development center for secure products is in Israel.
Oh,
cool.
Yeah.
And
I
then
never
when
thought,
I come back, I go to Belgium.
Wow,
awesome. Have you've been to all these places before? I imagine it's just a circuit that is that you've done before.
Well, Belgium will be the first time. Is a conference that I never spoke before, so I'm going to speak for the first time there.
Okay. I never thought of this before, Yuri. You're from Brazil, right?
Yeah.
But your accent, when you were talking about Romania, I was like, that you have the perfect vampire accent. You could just be like the bodybuilding vampire of Romania. Just
yeah, man. It's funny because when people hear me talking, they actually think I'm from Russia, and I think that this is mainly because of the name Yuri, which is a Russian name.
Yeah,
and then in conjunction with that, there is the thick accent, right? So I think that this guy's from Russia.
I'm very
when I say I'm from Brazil, they don't really get it. I'm like, really? That's a Russian name, a Greek last name, and you're from Brazil. Yeah,
it's like Vic is from Sweden, but you would never know it.
Never know.
I feel so out-voiced on this podcast. Like, I always have to contend with Vic's deep, robust, masculine voice, and now Yuri's on here too. And I feel like I'm just I'm a prepubescent, 14-year-old over here. Hey, everybody. Yeah, man. But so Yuri, how many cybersecurity books? How many have you written at this point? You're 30 something, right?
34.
34 wow.
Total. Yeah.
Wow.
And you've been doing the cybersecurity thing for how long now?
Well, so I've been at Microsoft for 19 and dedicated 100% in cyber for the past 18 years.
Okay.
And besides Microsoft, I also teach in 3 universities. Recently, I started teaching at the University of Texas at Dallas.
Cool.
UTD. So in the cybersecurity program there, so it's been really, really good.
You guys, man, did you meet? Have you guys known each other that long? Because did you used to work at Dell or something? Like, did you guys meet at Dell?
2005.
Yeah.
2005.
Holy cow.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So you met Yuri like the same time you met me, basically.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I think you were in Dallas before, right? Working at Microsoft, and then you came down to Round Rock.
Yeah, I was in Dallas in 2004. 2003 is when I moved from Brazil to Dallas, and then 2004, mid 2004, I went to Dell. But I was in Dallas as a vendor for Microsoft as a V-Dash. And then I moved to Dell as a full-time. Actually, I was living in Round Rock at that time, and then I moved to Pflugerville. And then I was there until January 2006 when I moved back to Dallas.
Okay. Yeah.
It's been
shall we get
journey.
into?
Can't believe it.
Yeah, man, you're an inspiration. I mean, it doesn't mean that I haven't just gotten out of bed and stopped eating Cheetos, but I intend to. Like every time, it's good when we have Yuri on here and I go look at pictures of Yuri. I'm like, oh, come on, man, let's get with the program.
Yeah.
It's really discipline. I mean, once you get into it, like it's so funny how I'll get into that routine and I get in the gym and I'm just like, wow, why am I not? Never again. I'm going to stay in this routine, and it's so easy to slip back out. Something comes up, and that's what people do, right? It's so easy to make excuses. But you're probably busier than all of us, and you're always maintaining it.
I was going to say, well, you are a musician, you are on tour. Then I remember Dave Mustaine, that is a big name in metal.
Oh.
He's touring all the time, and he actually trains jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
He's actually brown belt right now.
I think
I knew he was karate. He was a karate black belt, and I think has been forever. But I didn't realize that he got into jiu-jitsu as well. Sure,
he did.
Yeah, makes sense.
He actually trains even on tour. He has a personal trainer and everything. So I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
same with
interesting.
Maynard James.
Yeah,
Dean.
I think Maynard, is he a brown belt?
No, he's a black belt now.
Oh, he's a black belt. Okay,
he's a black belt. Yeah, and he used to have Henry Akins, which is one of Hickson's black belts, go on tour with him as the security guy, and so he would train jiu-jitsu all this time while touring.
That's awesome.
And so
it's amazing how many, when you kind of get into it, you start looking around and there's just so many guys that are like, like Nicolas Cage I can't remember if he's like purple or black. There's all these actors and all these, different people that are doing it. It's obviously become a huge thing in the ever since UFC. It's just seems like it's grown and grown and grown. You guys were talking about.
Yeah, I think in sports in general, I think if you think about all these musicians that are in shape and still touring hard, like even Iron Maiden, right? This year is going to be the 50-year anniversary for Iron Maiden. 50-year anniversary.
It's crazy. Yeah.
And of course, I already got the tickets. I'm going to Portugal to see them in June. Because the tour is not coming to US, so I'm going to Europe to see them.
Oh, cool. Okay.
It's coming to US next year, but I'm not gonna wait.
So do you pretty much see Maiden every time they tour, if you can? Like how many times? How many times have you seen Maiden?
20 times probably.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be a very special tour, 50 years anniversary, and Steve Harris, he is an inspiration when it comes to his presence and how in shape he is, but he plays soccer every time that he is on tour. He plays one day with Maiden, and then he plays soccer next day, and then he plays the next day with British Lion, which is his solo band. So the guy is playing all the time.
Right.
And there was an interview with him last year that the guy asked, so you don't have plans to slow down? You are 7 years old. So you still playing like 3 nights in a row.
Yeah. And
he was like, do you ever take a break? Is it like, to do what? Stay at home doing nothing? No. It's crazy.
Yeah. No time to lay around. Well, then you got Bruce Dickinson over there just like getting degrees and flying airplanes. I mean, it's pretty crazy. You think about some of these guys like him and guys like Brian May and Jeff Baxter. I mean, they're not only, phenomenal musicians that have, that have been innovative and as musicians and with gear and all that, but like what is it, like Brian May's like a literal rocket science something, right? It's insane. Like they're just these really high level intelligent guys.
Bruce is coming to Dallas in August with his band, and I'm going. He's going to play at House of Blues in Dallas. So it's
cool,
pretty cool. Yeah.
When is that?
August.
Oh, in August. Okay, cool. That's very cool. Huh. Were you at that show, Vic, a few years back where they played? I mean, it might have been 10 years or so by now. They played at the 360 out there with Megadeth was the opener.
Oh yeah, I went to that one.
It's the only time I saw them, but I mean, then I guess they were
all
probably
in
their
60s.
Yeah,
I remember that. Yeah.
And dude, that guy was running around with the British flag and I mean, just more energy than like most dudes in their 30s. You know, it's just crazy.
I think I saw that show 3 times. Like I saw it here and I saw it somewhere else, and then I went up to Washington State where my cousin lives, and I saw the show again.
Oh,
in Tacoma.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, because they had the Seventh Son stage. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the old stage.
That was this Somewhere Back in Time tour.
That's right. Yeah.
I saw that tour in New Jersey and in Austin and in Dallas, so 3 times.
And then I saw them.
I think
when did they come here last? A couple of years ago. I mean, they were just in San Antonio this year, or Indy last year, or something
maybe
like that.
Last year,
last year.
Well, the time before that, I saw them at the Moody's, the new Moody Center, whatever. I can't remember when that was.
But to me, one of the most epic show was really the 2 times that I've seen them in London, because playing at home, I think I feel different when you are watching them in London.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I saw them twice at O2, and it was amazing.
That'd be a cool show to go see.
Yeah. O2 is a nice venue.
Yeah. Was it like Wimberley or something, or where did they play? Do you remember?
Oh, so I saw them on the Legacy of the Beast tour in 2000, I think of 3-4 years ago, actually. And then I saw them last year in a year before last, actually, on the Back to the Future, the last tour that they had, that they played in Austin too. Last year, they played in Austin.
Yeah, maybe one of those bands.
It was really good.
Like any great, like I think the great bands, right? Like even if you don't, because like there's a lot of guys around me that rock metal musicians who are huge Maiden fans. Of course, I know Maiden tunes and like anybody, but like I was never like one of those hardcore fans that had all their albums and knew all their stuff, like maybe I was with some other bands. But they're one of those bands that even if you're just like, yeah, this is a cool band, like they've got some cool songs, then you see them live and it's a game changer. Because they're just so amazing. I think a great band does that. You might kind of hear a hit or two and you're like, yeah, they're cool. And then you see them live and you're like, oh my God, this band's amazing. Like they were just so good live, especially to be doing it all these years. I mean, it's really impressive.
And when you really study the history of Maiden and what they've done and Steve Harris' resilience to keep the band together, to keep moving, it's just outstanding, and the lyrics, they are different from all the bands that talks about very random stuff. Their lyrics is very historical,
right?
There's always some meaning, good meaning. I mean, we're talking about songs with 14 minutes, like really long songs that I don't even see the time goes by, and they play those songs live is incredible.
Yeah.
One band that I never seen before and I saw last week, finally, because that was the only band from the 80s that was in my bucket list. It was AC/DC, actually. I saw them live last week at the Cowboys Stadium here in Dallas.
It was cool.
Angus is 70 years old, and he was running like a maniac.
Oh, yeah.
It's just incredible. The show with Angus, it's really incredible.
And they've got Brian Johnson back, right? Like
and Brian was sound really good actually. I think it was a great show. Great show.
Are you bummed you didn't get to see him with Axl Rose sitting on a throne with a broken leg?
No, I'm glad I didn't see them with Axl.
This is a good.
I was never a Guns N' Roses fan. I'm sorry for the listeners,
I love Guns
but I was
Roses,
never.
Yeah,
I was never really a Guns N' Roses fan.
Yeah, I mean, I get Axl can be a tall order.
It's just that I remember people praising Axl, but I really never liked his voice. It was like I didn't like his voice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess it made sense with AC/DC. It's just still like some bands, and I mean, I guess makes sense. Big rock star, he's got that high voice and everything. But yeah, it seemed weird. Even though it made sense, it still was just like, it doesn't seem right. Like AC/DC's
agree.
Post Bon Scott is Brian Johnson or whatever. So it's awesome that whatever was going on with him, that they got him back. But I think the broken leg is a great segue into why we've had you back on this podcast, other than just to hear your beautiful Romanian voice. Is so am I right in? So you were our first guest in 2020. I think it was August of 2020, and then I want to say it was like a month later. And was it a broken leg? You had an injury in a jiu-jitsu tournament? Is that correct? What happened?
So it was it was a broken foot. So 2020 was COVID. Mm-hmm. The first jiu-jitsu tournament post-COVID, it was Austin Open 2020. So I drove to Austin, and I was fighting the same guy that I won in Houston. Super nice guy. I mean, we were chatting before the competition, and you were again. It was nice. Super nice guy. I was very calm, and it was probably 2 minutes into the fight, and I was trying to take him down with a judo movement, and I lost balance, and my foot, it was very weird. My foot basically broke in the middle. Like the foot is like this, it broke right in the middle. It's called Linz-Frank injury. Is more common in NFL players because when they are running and they pivot really fast,
right?
This can happen when they pivot and run. It's very rare to happen in situations like mine. So even the doctor said this was like a very unique. If you try to replicate this 10,000 times, you're not going to be able to, because it's very, very unique. It's the power, it's the force, it's the positions. There's so many variables that needs to be in place for that thing to happen, and it did happen. Yeah. So that was really tough to me, because at that point I was very active. I was doing a bunch of stuff, and then suddenly I was unable to walk for 3 months. And it was my first major surgery, and it was very painful, because the foot, you have no idea how hard it is to have a surgery in your foot, because it's very sensitive. There is a lot of veins, a lot of things in there. So it was super painful.
So post-surgery, was it just every day, just painful? I mean, were you on...
A lot of pain. And they prescribed Ox to me. And I was increasing the dosage of Ox. But thanks God, I didn't get addicted to Ox, because I start to have constipation. I'm like, I don't like this constipation thing. I hate it. So I said, I'm going to just take ibuprofen.
Okay.
Because
I don't think
want
most people like constipation.
Yeah, but some people, between pain and constipation,
you're right. Pick the lesser of the two, right? Yeah.
Right. So I was like, okay, I'll deal with the pain, and it was horrible. It was really bad for months, 3 months, unable to walk. So during that time, the first month, I was already getting depressed. I'm like, I need to do something with my time. So that's when I started the Overcome podcast. My idea was to start interviewing athletes to see how they were coping with injury. So I really got lucky that I sent an email to a bunch of professional athletes, a bunch of people, just inviting. But everyone was at home because of COVID.
Right.
So
right.
So I was very lucky to get a lot of big names, Olympic athletes, Olympic coaches, authors. So I interview a lot of good names, and actually I learned a lot from them, asking how they cope and how they deal with injuries. So that was the main focus of the podcast, which still exists. I think we are on episode number 90 right now, a little less than you guys, but it's starting in October 2020, just as a side project because I was,
so
on
really
the depressing mode.
Yeah, so the circumstance of the broken foot actually is what led to your podcast.
Yes.
With being at 2020, nothing else really to do. Now you're at home with a broken foot. You're immobile for the most part. And now but it actually led to something cool in the sense that now you've interviewed all these people who have overcome various struggles. There's a wonderful theme in that podcast, very inspirational to go hear these stories, especially if you're in that kind of place, which every human being is in, some kind of form of that at some point in time. And then, so when this happened, you started the podcast, you're talking to people, and you're a drummer, you're a huge music fan. We talked about that on the first podcast, but I don't know if maybe you've played drums in bands, but you've never really written songs and lyrics before, or had you written before?
Yeah. I never did write anything other than books and articles and this type of things. When I growing up in Brazil, I did like to write poems because I like all the rhymes and everything. So I did write a lot of poems. So I was like, because when I approached you, Skunk, I said, can I use this intro from your music to be the opener for my Overcome podcast? And he said, sure, go ahead, right?
Yeah.
And it's a great intro. So I used that intro, and I started listening to some of your music on Spotify. I'm like, man, this guy is good. I started thinking about the music, and then you were the first person that I was like, maybe he can write a song about this topic, like the musical part, the instrumentational part, right? Because I had the lyrics in mind. So that's when I sent an email to you with the draft for the music and all the intro and chords and everything. So yeah, it was the first time, and I'm glad that you like and you move on and start working on that.
Yeah, what's really interesting is, people often ask, like, what's your process when you write? Do you write the music first or the lyrics or the melody? I'm like, well, it's just different all the time. It's different circumstances and different things come in different ways. But in your case, that was definitely new in terms of just like, and that was like that sort of that Elton John, Bernie Wright situation where it's just like, here are lyrics, now create to these lyrics, right? And I mean, I had to like bend and change a few things, right, obviously to make things fit, but it was actually really cool. And I was thinking, I don't think it turned out sounding like an Iron Maiden song at all, but that was part of it. It's interesting.
It evolved, right?
It evolved.
From the first version that you sent it to me to the last one.
Yeah.
I mean, it starts to build up and gain a different dimension.
Right.
It looks, nowadays it sounds complete.
Yeah, I'm very happy with the outcome. And the what's cool about it is, it's like, when you have the right people around you and you trust them and there's no egos and all that kind of stuff, and everybody wants the best. It's like, you sent the lyrics, that was an initial, okay, here's the theme, here's the inspiration. I tend to write pretty fast. So that original demo, I just kind of cranked it out. And I remember sending it to you and you were like, yeah, this is great. And then I think you were like, can you make the guitars heavier and the drums a little, whatever. You had some notes and I'm like, yeah, but it was just a demo. And then that demo just sat, right? Which happens sometimes. Sometimes the song happens and it comes out, but a lot of times things sit around, and here we are, 4.5, 5 years, almost 5 years later. And I'm glad that it waited though, because it just like the pieces fit when Tim Driscoll, who's in A Good Rogering now and has been for some time, like getting him involved in the stuff we're working on for the new album. He's the one that kind of came down and said, yeah, I have this song, it needs something more, right? Because it was just kind of verse, chorus, guitar solo. And I knew, I wanted to add and I think he kind of came up with this classical nylon string. And I always wanted to have a little bit of a Latin flair in that, just as a sort of like because of the Brazilian thing, right? And I was like, I want to put a little bit of a Latin flair in this thing. And so then that evolved into that, and then the bridge. So we kind of gave the song a different dynamic twist.
And the solo is great, man. The solo did such a good job on the solo.
Right. He had that. I love this, the way the solos came out. He had the idea that we trade solos. So I had that melody from the original version, right? And so there's the melody and the harmony, which was in the demo. And then it's just me and him back and forth. And I thought that was super cool because, I don't know, it kind of had like a cool Megadeth vibe about it, right? And I think the drivingness kind of had some of the Megadeth feel. And then some of the ideas he had, like we took, because it was all just kind of chugging guitar. Well, then we took the verses and just made it those big, the inspiration for that was kind of like, well, like more of like let's do like a Muse vibe. And it was just these big single note kind of things there. And then we got like the Megadeth pre-chorus, we're always kind of like, oh yeah, this Megadeth vibe with this and a Bowie vibe. Someone at one point was like, oh, it reminds me of Bowie. And I'm like, okay. It's interesting to see how a song evolves from like, okay, a Maiden vibe, which kind of got a bit of a Megadeth vibe, and then references were throwing around our Muse. So there was just this evolution of things and ideas. And then I had a driving bass through the whole song. And then Kafir, the producer we worked with, an engineer who engineered it, he was like, why don't we try this on the bass for the pre-chorus, and kind of gave it this, like, instead of just a doom, 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 when it changes keys or chords, it's like this boo-doo, da-doo, do-da, boo-doo, da-doo. And so he was like thinking like more of a Faith No More vibe with the bass. So all these different components kind of came together to make it what it is now. And honestly, man, I think it's one of my favorites, my favorite songs we've recorded, both sonically, I think, from how it turned out. I think it sounds great. And the song itself, and everybody I sent it to for like, hey, here's a new song, what do you think? I usually send it out to some trusted sources just for some feedback on the mix. And everyone was like, man, great song. And what's beautiful about that is I would have never written that song. I tend to write, I feel like I almost, I've got some stuff like that, but I have more of a hard time with straightforward lyrics and storytelling. And so the way you wrote it and the sort of just to the point lyrics without me trying to be fancy schmancy with big words and metaphors or something, I think it's a great song because it, like, the message is very clear and understandable. And so I'm really excited to put this song out, and I hope that the song itself, it's just such a positive, it's a great message, so I hope the song itself can be something for people that you can listen to when you're down or you want motivation in the gym or whatever the case may be, man. So it's a very,
and when is going to be out?
Very proud collaboration. That's a good question. I've been thinking about that today. I was like, I should say a release date on the podcast. We have been, so everything's done. It's mastered. It's finished. Something I want to talk to you about, Yuri, is artwork. We don't have to do it on the podcast, but all we're really lacking is artwork. And then we're going to go ahead and put the song out as a single, and then we'll do a video later, since I do want to get the song out. I don't want to wait around another month or whatever. So it's definitely going to be in May.
Oh, that's awesome! Wow.
Yeah, it will be. Exciting. It will be.
I'm gonna listen to this on Spotify.
Yeah, dude, it will be out in less than a month. I want to. Maybe we'll put an exact date when we put out the podcast. I'm thinking. Let me look at a calendar. Where are we right now?
Wow, this is so cool.
I can't wait to hear it live, man. It's such a cool, awesome song. I was just imagining. Yeah, I did hear it. And so I was just imagining, I was imagining earlier today, I was listening to it again. I was like, man, this would be badass live. I could just hear, in that atmosphere.
Well, so we got some cool things happening, man. It's like we just did a cover of a Tool song off the first track off their first EP, Opiate. And I don't know, there's this great singer. You remember the band iToothpick, Blaine and the singer And I've been playing in another thing. The Czars did a deal with him. And so now I'm playing in his Dark Heart Orchestra group, which is a really unique, interesting thing. And he was like, one day we were just having lunch, and he was like, man, I would love to do like a collaboration with a Good Rogering sometime where I'm singing either a Tool song or a Deftones song. And I immediately was like, dude, let's do Tool. Absolutely. And so, yeah, we just recorded the music for that the other day. We're recording the lyrics later this week, and that'll be released, I think, a little bit later. But it's actually really cool. Like, there's several collaborations in the works. I'm not even going to say anything about who yet, but there's some really cool names that some people we're working with right now. But yeah, I also thought, Yuri, like, I really wanted the first single of this year. Like, we're working on a lot of music. There's a lot of stuff kind of sitting around that's getting finished up now. But I just really wanted Overcome to be the first thing we came out with. It's been a while since we put music out. the last few years, actually became very. The timing felt good for me personally because the song really resonated with me after just kind of a shit show. I had a really lousy 2024, and I was like, man, I really want to come back out next year and like have this be that flagship song that's just like, okay, like life sucks, things turn upside down, things go south. Keep pushing on, keep going, man. Yeah. Like I said, that singular message, and it actually came out to be such an anthemic song too. That's like, I see this just like, like it's just got that vibe, and I don't typically write that, so it's cool.
You have no idea how joy it brings to me to listen to this, because I wrote that thing in a state of mind that was very tough.
Right.
I was really depressed. I was really down, and I just needed to put this out. I was trying to express myself in different ways. That's why I was created the podcast, and I actually was writing part of the book that I wrote. This says blue one here, the Building a Career in Cybersecurity. There are some parts of the chapter that talks about resilience. So some of the drafts of this book I wrote back in 2020, and when I was writing this one in 2022, I recaptured some of the things that I wrote. So the song and the way that you guys finish is just perfect. It really has the vibe that I was looking for.
I feel like it has
that's really push,
up-tempo, upbeat.
Keep going, going. It's like the rhythm, the melody, everything matches with the lyrics.
Yeah, there was something about it too. Like I said, I mean, sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't. And when you sent me those lyrics, sometimes I don't like to think. I just like to roll, and it either happens or it doesn't. And that it really happened fast. And then obviously there's a big jump from the quality of the demo to now. But that initial embryo seemed to just like I remember it just kind of flowed through, right? So, and
I'm looking forward to the single. I cannot wait, man. And when you told me that my name will be there on the credits, I was like, this is super cool. I'm just gonna, maybe I will get the vinyl version of the if you guys have a vinyl version, if you guys plan to have a vinyl version. I was about
to say that,
yeah.
Well,
if you guys plan to have a vinyl.
I might do like what I don't know about a single on it, but I think like with a collection, there's some other songs that if we put out through the year, like maybe I'll just make a collection of like an EP or something, like a two, so we'll see.
Should.
I mean, I definitely do want it. Yeah, I would love to have this on vinyl, absolutely. But for now, yeah, we're gonna get it out streaming. Well, eventually we'll get a video sometime probably in the summer. But yeah, I was gonna say, Vic. So we're playing this thing called Hemp Stock. A long time. Well, you remember Justin Bridges from
yep.
He's running
one of the early podcasts.
One of the early podcasts as well was in Portland. Talk about a story, Yuri. Talk about overcoming. This guy he's a musician. He's toured all over, and he was activist, really active in the sort of fighting for the legalization of marijuana and this kind of stuff, right? And hemp and da-da-da. Well, they were doing these festivals and this and that, and Portland, I think, is where this thing started years ago, and he was up in the Pacific Northwest. There was some sort of protest or something, and wrong place, wrong time. Don't know all the details, but he was basically severely beaten by a cop or cops. I don't remember exactly the details, but he was He was in a wheelchair for years, and now the guy he's up walking around. He's totally great. He's got a beautiful family. It was just an awesome dude. Just a really, really cool guy. And so he's bringing back Hemp Stock, or bringing it to Texas for the first year, and we're playing that, and that's going to be the debut performance of Overcome.
Really?
Yeah. So we're planning on playing May 24th. So the plan will be, we will probably put the single out in 2 to 3 weeks. So the single will probably come out about a week before that show. So we'll be really pushing that song, and then we're going to play it. The plan is to play it at that show. Yeah.
Well, you should definitely put as soon as possible in May. May 24, I'll be actually in Belgium. But 1 week before, I'll be in Israel. So it'll be back-to-back trips. But I'll be all over the place in May. But it's streaming, so I can listen anywhere anyway.
Yeah, our drummers from Israel are the guys we work with, our recording team, and the drummers from Israel, the Gov brothers. Shout out to Evil Snail Studios here in Austin. They're amazing. And Ram just had a surprise 40th birthday party, and like one of those boat parties. And we just got that. He had just got back from a tour. He was about to go out on another tour. And I guess I probably shouldn't, you know what, by the time this airs, who cares? He called me yesterday, and we just did this long session where we were like in a studio. It was a big ask, right? And I asked him like, oh yeah, can you learn this Tool song? Sure. And I was like, it's like an older one. It's easy. No Tool song is easy. That was extremely irresponsible of me to say, right? That's like saying, oh yeah, sing this Iron Maiden song, piece of cake, no big deal. And so he texts me like a week later when he starts working on it. He's like, man, this song is not easy. It's just, there's no 4/4. It's just odd meters everywhere. Well, anyway, we learned it. What's really cool about this too is, remember Blaine, original bass player for Good Rogering, who co-wrote some of the stuff on the first record. He is on this recording. Guest singer Adam. So it's all these. We brought in these guests. Rob did the drums, and we were actually going to shoot a video we were going to start shooting next weekend. But Ram just got a call, and he's going to be touring with a band opening for Marilyn Manson. So he's going to be he's on a flight right now, I think, as far as I understand. So that's kind of why we're like, well, okay, what are we going to do on the video right now? It's a little in the air. But the single, that'll be out at the latest, man. It'll be out. When are you in Israel? Like the 16th?
17, yeah.
17, yeah. So I think it'll probably be out. It'll be out before that. I think it'll be out that week. At the latest I would see it coming out would be the 16th. I'm probably going to put it out sometime that week. So it'll be all ready to go. Tell everybody, what's going on. The big thing about this song that I was like worried about was the drums, because the original drums, they're pretty straightforward and they're pretty simple. And yeah, can you do more with the drums? And then we had another drummer come in, and he did another song with us, and it went great. It went smooth, but Overcome just wasn't vibing. Like his ideas were just not vibing with the song. Yeah. And we did some editing, and I sent you that thing. You were like, yeah, it's great. And then I went back and I was like, there's a lot of editing. It wasn't quite there. And so I hit up Ram and I was like, hey, let's redo this song. And then I was like, God, I hope Yuri likes this. And I remember, and Ram was like, no, I want it to just be driving, but a real drummer is obviously giving it dynamics. There wasn't a lot of fills or anything. And I was like, please, at the very end, I was like, give me one big Iron Maiden tom fill. So I was like, we got to get that big tom fill in there for Yuri, man. But yeah, I'm so happy that that when I sent it to you, you loved it, man. And so I think all around, all of us are super proud of it. And
I was listening
really
on the car. I was listening everywhere, and it's so interesting because I want to get this out there really fast. And when you sent me the invite to record this podcast, I actually put like 5, maybe 10 seconds of the song on my story.
Okay, cool.
Just to advertise that it's coming, and I received some good feedback. People listening, so.
Yeah, I mean, you never know when I like trusted ears, and sometimes your friends can be dicks, but that's good. It's like when I send someone to somebody and they're just like, you could do better. I'm like, well, fuck you, but also, okay, you're right, I guess. It's good to get pushed. It's good to get honest opinions. And so when I sent this out there's been nothing negative. Like everybody's been really, really into it, man. So it's been
and
great.
It's funny that you said that you sometimes start writing songs through the melody and then the lyrics come later.
Yeah.
Because even in Iron Maiden, Bruce, he prefers to have the lyrics first and then fit into the melody. But Steve prefers the melody first.
Yeah, totally.
So Steve is like, and actually Steve thinks more about the melody, and his argument is that not everyone speaks English anyway. So the melody is the first thing that attracts people to Iron Maiden. And then he fits in the lyrics later. Although his lyrics are outstanding. I mean, Alexander the Great is a great example.
Yeah, and it makes sense, actually, that because of the way that he writes, it makes sense that those lyrics, it's almost more like poetry. It's kind of like the way that this song was approached. Like, you sent me what you could, call it a poem, right? And then you're fitting music to that, and you're kind of making some minor, you're trying to you want the message to stay the same. You want to keep as many of the lyrics as you can. And actually, now that I think about it, the original version, I didn't even bother with the intro, right? And so when we came back and we did that classical guitar intro, you had other lyrics there that I was like, I need to get these into the song too. So I kind of knew even after the demo, I always wanted an intro, right? It was just a matter of like, all right, we need to write something different to fit this now. Like I wanted an intro of the song, but that is an interest. That's actually really cool to, I wonder that dynamic, if it's kind of back and forth with, here's my lyrics, Steve and Bruce, you know, just kind of how that works.
And Bruce always says that Steve's lyrics, because Steve first write the instrumental part, but then after that, after everyone is used to, he writes the lyrics, and Bruce says that it's very tough, his lyrics sometimes to make the adjustments. He keeps saying that Steve keeps challenging me. And there is a song in the Book of Souls album that is called Tears of a Clown. And Steve wrote that song for Robin Williams, because Bruce came to Steve and said, wow, this is a very deep lyric. What is this about? And Steve was like, Robin Williams. And Bruce was like, wow. Because it was very recent after Robin Williams' suicide, right? So Steve wrote this beautiful song called Tears of a Clown. It's amazing. The lyrics is just beautiful.
Wow, man. That is, I certainly did not know that. That's cool. Yeah. So is there a primary writer, or are they kind of splitting lyrics? I mean, Bruce writes most of the lyrics, but Steve writes some, or no?
Not really. It's almost like 50-50, because Adrian also writes a lot. Adrian Smith.
Yep.
Okay.
Dave.
So for example,
does some writing, right?
Yeah, Dave does some, but it's more Adrian. And Adrian likes to write with Bruce. So there are on the latest record, Senjutsu, there are at least 3 songs that were written by Adrian and Bruce.
That's a great album.
Because Adrian and Bruce, they work. When they left Iron Maiden, they recorded 2 records solo, Accident of Birth and Chemical Wedding, and they were great records. So they are really good buddies, and they like to collaborate on songs. Like Wasted Years is a classic one from Adrian. Adrian is a good musician, a great musician, actually.
Yeah.
Dave is more low profile, and he says that. He says, "No, I'm a good soldier. I like to, to get along and follow." Sometimes he writes. He wrote, I think, "Deja Vu" back in the Somewhere in Time, which is a great song too.
I mean, that's important in a band, right? It's like, I think you don't want too many cooks in the kitchen. And you look at most bands, there's usually a core, maybe, usually like 2 guys, right? Maybe like the James and Lars or the Lennon McCartney, and then the other guys contribute too, but they're not so much the core.
Yeah,
right?
But Metallica's writing process is weird, man, because it's literally only James and Lars in the studio doing the whole song, and then they invite the other guys to just learn and play their part.
Well, I think it used to be that way. And I'm not one of those guys who's like, oh, Metallica started, like, I'm not one of those guys who hated everything Metallica did after Angels. I think
I like Metallica. Brilliant. I love it. What I'm saying is that like, the writing style albums. Is very, is not very democratic. It's very Lars and James. The last album was different.
Well, I think they might have gotten more democratic. Well, I mean, certainly with Bob Rock, which started out brilliant and then just somehow, I don't know, man. I don't know. I honestly, like, Metallica is such an interesting thing to me because I love Metallica. I'm not here to bash Metallica. And it's like, and I respect them for taking the chances, right? But in my opinion, I love all their old stuff. I love the Black Album. Load's cool. Reload's okay. I actually think their last couple albums are fantastic. I really liked Hardwired, and I think 72 Seasons is great. I mean, to me, that's the old Metallica, but I think they're great albums. But Saint Anger, I have tried, and I just can't. Like, it's like when I tried to listen to Kanye West and be like, "What's all this genius talk about?" And I'm like, I can't hear it. It's just like
what I don't like about
Saint Anger is
exactly the problem with Saint Anger. I think is the drum.
It's horrible. It's almost unlistenable. And then I know plenty of people that are huge Lou Reed fans, but have you heard Lulu? I mean, and by heard Lulu, I mean, listen to like the first 30 seconds and turn it off, because that's what I did. Like, it's just weird. It's just Lou Reed, like cling, jing, jing. oh, the blah 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 blah, jinga jinga jing, and then like a riff comes in, and James Hetfield's like yeah ho, and you're like, what the hell's going on? It's just not. They are trying to defend it, but I think the majority of people are like Lulu, big thumbs down. So I love the fact
when I say that Metallica writing process is weird, is because when you watch Iron Maiden documentaries like the making of Dance of Death or the making of Metal of Life or Death, which shows them composing the studio, they are all together. They are all together. So it really feels like a band, working all the pieces together. Even if you watch the making of Hardwired to Self-Destruct, is Lars and James, all the time. And then when the song is pretty much ready, then they invite the other guys. So I just think it's kind of odd. I mean, I respect because I really like Metallica, but I just the whole process of writing songs is very odd.
Yeah, and I think that works for them, right? And I think every band is different. And what's interesting for me is like it's been different in different situations. And some of the greatest songs I think that I've been a part of were written as a group, right? But other times you try to write in a group and it's just a disaster. It's just four people staring at their feet, like because trying to get their eyes across and their ideas across, and nothing's working. So you have to know. I think you learn to gauge like this is vibing. Let's roll with it. Like I said, when I write and like when I had the lyrics to Overcome, it was like, to me, if something's like, I like it to be like, I want to feel it and be in the moment with it. I mean, it's organic. If it's organically happening, then I roll with it. If it's not, like I put it down and like come back, and maybe it was not meant to be. Maybe it's supposed to happen later with a co-writer or something. But yeah, there's no right or wrong way to write a song. I guess it's a different thing for everybody. But I think to me, it seems like when you have I don't know, say it's the exception. Back once upon a time, I think there was a lot more of that. Maybe Zeppelin and these bands. It seemed like you had to be in a room, right? You couldn't bounce files across the world. Oh, hey, John Bonham, I'm sending you my Pro Tools.
Exactly.
You had to get in a room. Whether we're talking about that or Guns N' Roses. I mean, Guns N' Roses actually is one of my favorite examples of a band that wrote collectively for the better. They really wood shop their songs and crafted them over time, and that's what became Appetite for Destruction. But I don't know. I think nowadays a lot more, is the joke. Have you seen the memes like the old rock stars of the 60s or 80s or whatever, and it's like Slash with a Jack Daniels bottle and a cigarette, and then like it's rock stars of the 2000s and it's like a dude with a cup of coffee and a laptop, So it's a very different process for a lot of people.
And you are today. Getting already on the rock star from the 90s and 80s and 90s. Think about how it was with Black Sabbath, right? Back in the 70s. Now that was hardcore. And Bill Ward, drummer, when you watch him playing with that little drum kit and the noise that he was making with that little drum kit is just impressive.
It's really interesting at that time. Yeah, in the late, I think there was a cool thing happening back then in the late 60s, early when it going into the 70s and the birth of metals, I guess, where really a lot of these guys, they had that kind of, feels like they had that jazz influence. Like you listen to Ginger Baker, you listen to Bill Ward, Mitch Mitchell, these guys were all very jazzy. They're very, it's not straight rock beats, and it makes for really interesting music. And these guys all had very unique stamps, Bonham, all of them. Even Ringo gets so much crap, and there's a lot of debate of what did he or did he not record, but I love Ringo because he's got a unique style. It made all those components, right, is what makes a band. It's like, even though like everyone, you can say, Ringo doesn't matter. The Beatles wouldn't have quite been the same without Ringo, right? Everyone kind of has their own nuance and style that I think really makes the great
same
bands
thing that
great.
People bash Lars for being a bad drummer, and he does the job, and it works perfect. He works perfectly for Metallica. Now,
I love you saying that as a drummer, but go ahead.
Yeah. But having
drummers
said that,
so many drummers just shit all over Lars.
Yeah,
I know his character.
I don't hate Lars. I think that. But again, it works for them. It fits into the music. It works well. Now, I was watching the other day because this surfaced the other day on Instagram, and I went to YouTube to watch the entire video. So there was a show. I'm not sure exactly which year was that, but Lars was sick, and a bunch of drummers filled in for Lars because he got sick exactly on the day of the show.
Okay.
So Dave Lombardo from Slayer played Battery. Oh my God.
That'd be cool to see. Man, it's funny. I just listened to that album last night, Master Protus.
Yeah, but if you look at this clip, Dave Lombardo playing Battery, I mean, even James was like, wow. You know,
they got to go back to Lars, and he's like, shit. Yeah. Damn it.
Because it's funny because recently Dave Lombardo gave an interview about this show and said, yeah, on that day I pushed those guys a little bit faster. Yeah, because Battery got really fast.
Yeah.
Wow. Jeez. That's brutal to think of, especially when you're 60. I mean, it's amazing. All these guys, they're not only like 60s and 70s but they're playing complex music and they're running around. I mean, the people. I don't think people realize the physical endurance that takes. In fact, it's I've heard things about certain bands. They have trainers, and when they're leading up to tours and stuff, they actually have guys sing the set while running on a treadmill or running because you can do this singing at a rehearsal, standing still or being in your car, but then you get on stage under the lights and you're moving around. There's all that energy. It's like you will get exhausted very quickly. Like it can be very taxing.
I mean, I think that the best example of physicality while playing nowadays with this new generation is the Brazilian drummer Eloy Casagrande from Slipknot.
Oh yeah,
Have you seen him? You know who I'm talking about?
I do. Like, how long has he been playing with them now? Like,
probably he started late last year, so almost 1 year. I saw them in Dallas. I mean, Eloy is by far the best metal drummer in the world right now. I mean, the guy is a freaking beast. He is so fast. His double pedal is so fast. It's just incredible.
Yeah.
And everyone listening to Slipknot with Eloy just say, well, this guy is just another level. Yeah. It's just another level.
Who are some of your influences? We've probably discussed a lot of them, but just how long have you been playing drums?
I mean, as a hobbyist, right?
Yeah, but you could play. I mean, you're a good drummer.
Yeah. But I'm saying as a hobbyist, first of all, I only had money to afford a drum kit when I moved to US. So my first ever drum kit was in 2008 that I bought, because when I was in Brazil growing up, I didn't have money to buy a drum as a kid. But I first got interested in drums when I was probably 13, which was when I was starting to really listen to metal. I've been listening to Iron Maiden since I was 12, maybe. And it's funny because I started listening with Clive when Clive was on Maiden, but then when I listened to Nico playing Where He Goes There, I was like, wow, what is that, right? Yeah. So Nico was a big one, and I'm so glad that I've seen Nico live many times. I met him at his bar in Florida at least 4 times before he retired, because he retired last year for an Iron Maiden.
Yep.
And he retired in Brazil. His last show was in Brazil.
Okay. Is he?
Yeah.
Like that was his last show, or does he live down there?
No, his last show was in Brazil. He lives in Florida.
Right.
And the reason why he retired is because of he had a stroke, right? And his right side got paralyzed, and he didn't recuperate all his movements. So he was really on the last tour, and he gave an interview and said, you will see that I had to adjust even the way I played Trooper, the way I played songs where I have to very physical, because I don't have the same physicality anymore after the stroke. So he decided to step down. And now his replacement for this new tour that will start next month is the guy that plays with Steve on Steve's band, British Lion.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I think I saw a recent post from you. You met Max Cavalera from
Max and Igor. right? So they came here to Dallas, Cavalera Conspiracy, which is his band with Igor, and it's always great, man. And Igor's freaking beast on drums is just amazing because he created this style when everyone was playing, some sort of drum pattern. Igor came in with a whole different level, using a lot of Brazilian influence. I mean, if you listen to Roots, there's a lot of Brazilian beats there. So he brought all that Brazilian beats to metal. So he created this whole style that that a lot of other drummers got influenced by. So I talked to him and I said, "Man, you're still so fast." And he was joking because we were speaking Portuguese, which is cool too. And he said, "No, I'm old." And then Max joked and said, "He is a full of Red Bull. That's why he's going so fast."
Man, I think it was I don't know, maybe this was pre-Ozfest, but I remember way back in the early Austin, before I moved here, and I was like, right there, and right out of high school, I think. Like I saw Ozzy at Sunken Gardens, right? When that was not Sunken Gardens, that's San Antonio, South Park Meadows, when that was all just fields and there was nothing out there, and they had concerts, and it was Ozzy, and it was the first time I had heard Sepultura. Obviously, I don't even know if I knew Typo Negative, but I remember two of the bands on the bill were Typo Negative, which I was just like, I became a huge fan. I remember them playing Black Number One and all the green, and I was just like, who the hell are these guys? I was like, this is cool. And then Sepultura came out, and they were amazing. And what I loved more than anything else about them was the percussion, what they did with the drums. I mean, they just had a whole section of the show that was this big percussive thing, and it was like you said, it was so unique, man. There was no other band that sounded like that, and incorporating that into metal was super cool.
No, it's amazing. He's still with the same vibe, so it's always good to see them live. I've seen many times. But here's the thing. Another band that kind of resurfaced from the ashes, right, is Pantera. And a lot of people say it's not Pantera anymore because the brothers are not there. And I get it. It's different, but it's still Pantera because Phil is there, Rex is there. So I think that the vibe is the same. It's similar, not the same, similar.
Right.
Because I think that they're doing really good. I saw them live last year with Metallica. I'm going to see them this year again. They are coming to Dallas. So
Pantera with Metallica again, or just Pantera? I feel like I saw that they had some shared dates.
This time around is just Pantera. So, actually, who is going to open for them is that band, the Viking metal band. What is the name of the band? I forgot because I never saw them live. They're Dallas. Have you seen them live with this new formation, Scott?
I never saw Pantera ever, and that sucks. I really, really wish I could have seen Pantera. Never saw him, never met him. I met Vinnie Paul one time, which was cool, but other than that, no. And my thought on that whole thing is like, I'm not like, oh, this is a blasphemy or anything like that. I mean, obviously Zakk Wylde's going to be Zakk Wylde. He's not going to play the stuff like Dime, but he had a connection to Dime, and he's a legendary rock star in his own right, obviously. Icon, so I don't mind that. I think it's cool that they're playing and you can still go see that music, and like you said, Phil and Rex and everything. What I'm a little like skeptical on is like, do we really want new music? And it's up to those guys. Not up to us.
I don't even think that is their intent to have new music.
I've seen some things about it. Who knows if it's true or not? Like, to me, like that's like, let's let that die. But the idea of like at least being able to go see part of the band live in concert, sort of almost paying homage to the brothers, if you want to see it that way, like, that's cool. I mean, I wish obviously, like anybody, I wish I could have seen Pantera as they were, but that's kind of like Alice in Chains. I mean, I never got to see them with Lane Staley. I've seen them many times post Lane Staley, and I still think they're a phenomenal band. I think they're fantastic. I think the music they're putting out is still great, and that's a pretty tough guy to replace. The Abbott brothers, that's kind of a whole nother thing. I mean, that's the brothers.
No, I get it. It's totally
irreplaceable, but
right. And so the band is Amon Amarth. I'm not sure if you know this band.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I think at one point when I had the big beard and long hair, someone said that was like a doppelganger for that guy. Like I've definitely got I've got the pale skin for sure. I've got the Viking look
skin.
If I grow it all out. Yeah.
Yeah,
I totally
really
know those
good.
guys.
They're
great. So they're playing with Pantera. That's in Dallas.
September.
Coming up?
Yep.
September. Do you know the date? Are you looking at it right now?
It's September 3rd. It's a Wednesday.
Okay. Man,
Charlie's still playing
very
drums,
cool.
right?
Yeah, Charlie Benante is on drums still.
Right.
Actually, I think Anthrax is recording a new album, right? Have you seen that? I think so.
That's what I heard that they.
Yeah.
But it will be a great opportunity if they're not going to Austin. You all should really check it out, because when I went to ACDC last week, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, I was like, this is probably the last chance I'm gonna have to see that guy. They don't come very often to Dallas. Angus is already 70. Yeah. So the reality, man, is we are on the last few years with this generation of metal around us. It's not gonna last too long.
I have very much been this year going like, I'm just gonna bite the bullet. Tickets are expenses. I'll sit in the nosebleeds. But like, I've never seen Primus. I'm going to see Primus coming up here real soon. Like, it's just, yeah, man, because a lot of these guys are getting up there, and it's like, how long are they? I'm so glad I saw Rush. I saw Rush on that very last tour, and I'd never seen him. It's just like, those are legends, and now that's never going to happen again, So, yeah, it certainly makes you go, you know what, spend the money, take the opportunity, and do it, because you never know if you'll get another chance to. So, but man,
one guy that I would love to see live is Dave Gilmour from Pink Floyd.
Oh God,
that guy.
I want to see him too.
Yeah, dude. Yes. I wish I'd been a little more hip, and I wasn't quite there yet. I was kind of feeling, starting to hear things and knew the name Pink Floyd, but that it would have been so cool to see the Division Bell. Now I have seen Roger Waters twice, which was phenomenal. I saw Roger Waters in Dallas. I
just don't like the guy. Yeah, I just like that. I just don't like the guy.
I tend to get it gets irritating when someone's complete agenda becomes political. And I mean, Roger Waters has always been kind of what do you call it? Just controversial.
Activist. He's more like an activist. Asshole,
but now it's when it becomes the central focus. If it's Rage Against the Machine, you're like, yeah, I get it. That's what they do. But Roger Waters, I think most people are like, yeah, cool. We don't give a fuck that you hate so and so. Like, just play your damn song and shoot the pig in the air and play the song, please.
That's one of the things that I love about Maiden. They do not put politics. If they put, it's very subtle, sudden in some lyrics, but they don't make a show about that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
The show is about the experience. It's same thing with Metallica. Metallica doesn't talk politics.
Yeah.
Even on the show, every time that James is there, he says clearly, y'all today are Metallica family, and we are not.
I love that, man.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah. Whereas I think Bruce did something similar on one of the last tours too. I think.
Yeah. And as much as I love Dave Mustaine, but I feel like you can't get through a Megadeth concert without something, without Dave putting an opinion out there about it. Is pretty funny when he just threatens to kick people's ass in the crowd. I mean, that's fun, but we saw them, at Moody, right, Vic? Wasn't it them with Volbeat? Remember that show?
Yes. Yeah. Because it was Volbeat was there. And then it was,
the female band,
the Italian band with the Christina, Lacuna Coil.
Lacuna Coil, yeah.
Lacuna Coil, right. Because she came out and sang
"To Le Monde"
with Dave Mustaine,
yeah. And I don't know if he talked shit to the crowd that night, but I feel like he did.
Here's a homework for both of you. Y'all have to go out after the recording this and listen to "Washington Is Next" from Megadeth, and pay attention to the lyrics.
Washington Is Next? What album? Do you know that album?
Washington Is Next, the name of the album.
Oh, okay.
What?
Washington Is Next. You have to listen to these lyrics because it's prophetic.
Oh, United Abomination. Right.
United Abomination, yeah.
I was just listening to this album. Yeah.
Yeah, but listen to Washington is Next and pay attention to what he says. And now you see what's going on. He was talking about this years ago. So Dave Mustaine has something, he really is the guy that read in between the lines. So he has some really interesting lyrics. Washington is Next is just one that I'm addicted to it.
Yeah. Well, I'm a huge Megadeth fan, and I will always, and I think because of that, like, it doesn't bother me. Like, sometimes bands get really political and it's just irritating, and I'm like, this would be so much better if you just do the music. But with Megadeth, it's kind of wrapped in it, but it's wrapped in there's somehow Dave has a charm about his anger. it's part of the brand, right? And he's
So I mean, since you're a Megadeth fan, since you know this one, did you know that there is a song from Megadeth that is actually a psalm from the Bible?
What song?
Is an entire reading of a psalm.
Talking about Holy Wars or what?
Psalm 23. No,
really?
Psalm 23.
What?
The Lord is my
song?
shepherd; I shall not want. That's the name of the song called "Shadow of Death," from the "Season Has Failed" record.
Right,
dude. This song is another one that when you listen, you'll be like, because as soon as I listened that song for the first time, I was like, this is actually a prayer. This is Psalm 23. And then I started reading, it's Psalm 23. So Dave wrote that song.
Wow, man, I would not have known that.
Yeah.
Of Death, D-E-T-H, yeah. Well, the interesting thing about that album, do you guys remember there was that time when we didn't even know if, talk about, dude, the theme of the podcast, Overcome. Dave Mustaine, that guy, alcohol, heroin, all these things, getting booted out of Metallica, having to move back home, and then starting Megadeth. I mean, this guy is so resilient, and just honestly, Dave Mustaine is a huge inspiration, because say what you want about the guy, he's
and do you know that he's a Christian,
and he really has. Yeah, well, he grew up in the what do you call him? Jehovah's Witness. He had that whole Jehovah's. Have you ever read his book? He had that. I think he had a family, a terrible father, that kind of stuff. And I think he was someone in his family was a Jehovah's Witness, and so he grew up with all that. And just a lot of adversity. But then remember, it must have been right around early 2000s, right after World Needs a Hero. I think it was like 2001 or something. And then in that gap before System Has Failed came out, remember he had that weird freak accident. He was like in rehab. I think he talks about it in his book. He was in rehab or something.
Yeah,
fell asleep in a weird way, and his hand went numb. And the doctors told him, like, you'll never be able to play guitar again. You're gonna, you basically have lost. And physical therapy, whatever. He came back resilient. Here we've had Dave Mustaine again, but I remember that there was that time when we were like, oh man, that sucks, dude. Like, is this it for Megadeth?
But he attributes a lot of things, a lot of those overcomes to his faith. He's a very Christian guy nowadays.
Yeah, I don't think Dave would be playing with a band like Behemoth, that's for sure. I feel like Dave Mustaine has gotten to a point where he won't play with certain bands, right? If they're satanic, he won't play with them.
He will not even sing some of his old songs, he said.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
wow. I've heard him say that. Yeah.
That's kind of surprising, because I don't feel like any of his stuff was ever
no, but he just feel like it attracts
those kind of
right. So he just feel like there's not, like, for example, Anarchy in UK. He said that he recorded that song, but there is a part of the song that says I'm the Antichrist. He said he will never play that song anymore.
Interesting. Yeah. Huh. It's not even his song anyway, but yeah, I mean,
right. But he recorded that song. You remember that?
No,
right?
yeah, it was on So Far So Good, So What?
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. And I didn't know this. I was watching this, I think, last month. Did you know that he has a winery with his family?
Doesn't surprise me, man. Doesn't. I mean, come back to Maynard, right? He's got wine. He's got a wine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's legit.
It's a winery.
The whole they bought the whole, place in Italy. They are growing grapes. So they are actually doing the thing. And most of their wine is name of records. They have Holy Wars, Wine.
Nice.
Yeah. It's very cool. You should look for this documentary. If it's him and his daughter Electra and his wife.
Yeah.
Very cool stuff. Very cool stuff.
I did not know that. That's really cool. Yeah. Do you know where he lives? I remember there was talk at one point he was moving. He was looking at places in Austin, but I heard he ended up in Florida or something. I don't know if anybody knows
I don't know. I know that the main place where they keep going back and forth to Europe because of this winery, I think, is in Italy.
Oh wow,
which makes sense.
Yeah.
So,
damn.
Yeah, I was on a flight with him. I didn't know it at the time.
That's right.
What?
Yeah, I was on a flight with him. I was flying back. I don't remember where I was flying back from, but I stopped in Dallas. I was flying American, and I saw this guy walking through the airport, and it was summer. It was hot, and it was the airport. It was just like, I just want to get home. I've been out a whole week, on sales trips, and I see this guy wearing a leather jacket and a beanie, pretty tall guy. And I'm like, man, why was that dude wearing a leather jacket for it? That's kind of weird. And he had a fabric softener stuck to his shoe. and so I get on the plane and I walk through there, and they're sitting in first class, and he had this two blonde girls with him, older one, younger one. And I sat pretty close, and the guy next to me is like, man, that's my favorite musician in the entire world. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he goes, that's Dave Mustaine. I was like, no. And so I get up, land in Austin. I get up, I look back, I'm like, oh, sure as shit, that is Dave Mustaine. And then I get to the luggage, the baggage claim, and he's just sitting there. I didn't want to bug him or anything, so I didn't go up to him and say hi, but it was him. Yeah. And then he's waiting outside, him and his family, his wife and his daughter, they're out there, and Alex Jones pulls up in a Ford Raptor, just hauling ass. Of course. And gets out of the truck, and he's like, yay, And so, they throw all this luggage in the truck, and then they just drive off. And I'm like,
oh, he left with Alex Jones?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Because he used to do InfoWars with Alex Jones, and he would talk about the Christianity conversion, right? And so if you can find some of those older shows, he's on there talking with Alex Jones about conspiracies and Christianity.
Well, that's why Washington is Next.
Yeah,
is really about that.
Yeah,
I mean, if you read the lyrics, it's gonna blow your mind.
I have to check it out,
dude. He was talking about this whole shit like back in the day, 10 years ago or more.
Yeah, but I was on the same plane with Dave Mustaine while he had fabric softener stuck to his shoe. So, speaking of Megadeth, you ever watch that YouTube channel Drumeo? You ever check that out?
Dude, that's awesome.
I saw, I don't know how recent it is, but I don't know. I guess I don't know the band. Some guy plays with the pop band, pretty popular. I can't remember the name of the guy or the band, but they play Tornado of Souls, and so they have the drumless track, and he's listening to it, and he's just trying to go.
I think I watched that episode.
Did you see it?
I think. Yeah.
I was kind of impressed with that guy, because usually you see people like writing notes and, just trying to work stuff out. Just have pen and paper, and they're just going through there, and then they go through it. This guy just kind of listened through it a few times, and he tried it. And I was like, holy crap. It's different, but I mean, I was impressed. Got to give props to that guy. But yeah, Tornado of Souls. I'm like, oh, what a song to give somebody. That's such an awesome song.
Yeah, it's funny when I saw Marty Friedman a couple of times. It's like he doesn't really play, I don't think, any Megadeth stuff, but he always plays that one. And every time, I mean, it's just the highlight of the show, that Tornado of Souls. That's probably seems like one of the probably top 10 guitar solos of all time, right? I mean, that's right there. You got like Hotel California and Stairway to Heaven, Cemetery Gates, whatever, right? And then you get freaking Tornado of Souls. Man, I'm actually I'm reading these lyrics right now, Yuri. You're absolutely right, man. It's just like right on the money.
Yes, it's impressive. I mean, the guy was talking about this whole thing, and it probably was during the time that he was talking with Alex Jones, because there is a lot of New World Order there and everything. So it's super interesting lyrics.
Was this when Alex Jones, like, if you could ever call Alex Jones sane, I guess this would have been sane Alex Jones, because I don't know what's going on with him now. Well, Vic and I did a podcast with a guy who works with Alex Jones, and they were actually at the Capitol on January. It was really interesting. It was like a really long. We did it was a 2-part podcast because it was such a long interview. But he was there with Alex Jones on January 6th when the whole thing happened, and it was interesting getting that perspective from someone who was there with him, as opposed to just like sound bites of what anyone else is saying. But I've talked to him before, and of course he's a guy I've known for years, and of course he's quite a conspiracy theorist, I would imagine, after working with Alex Jones for all these years. But I don't know, man. The Onion bought and he's like screwed, right? Because didn't he get sued like crazy for the Sandy Hook comments or something?
Yeah, I think he lost the lawsuit. I don't know if the Onion bought it though. I think that was, I don't know what was going on.
Is that BS? Like
I think it was BS. I don't know.
Okay. But. All right. Yeah. Anyway, he's got a lot to overcome, I guess. But
yeah, one thing that I noticed is that he lost a lot of weight. That's for sure. He is very thin these days. I'm not sure which diet he's doing, but he changed a lot. I'm not sure if he's on carnivore or something, but he lost a lot of weight.
That's a positive. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I just remember him asking Eddie Bravo to choke him out on one of the Joe Rogan's podcasts. like rear naked choke. He's like, go ahead, go. I'll do it.
Yeah, that's the thing about the whole carnivore diet, man, because that's one thing that I notice is if I go keto, the first few days is really bad, but then it gets really good after you get used to. And you feel less inflammation on your body because you really don't have you don't have carbs, you don't have sugar, you don't have anything, So I think one day I will try to do some experiments to stay like 3 months on this, because I really like it, and I can easily eat steak all day long. I love it.
Tell us about your diet as a bodybuilder, Yuri. Is it pretty consistent, or is it? I don't know if you're competing these days, or I know it's different when in the off season and leading up to competitions. But what is a general sort of diet for you like?
Yeah, right now it's I'm trying to do 2 things that are impossible to do together, which is jiu-jitsu and bodybuilding. Those are counterproductive because one is pure cardio. Jiu-jitsu, you have to eat a lot of carbohydrates and fuel yourself, and I'm very carb sensitive. I can gain weight really easily, so I'm trying to stay 60% protein, 20 fat, and 20 carbs when I break down my macros, and that's been working. I started this in January because with the holiday season I gained some weight, of course, and then I already lost 25 pounds since January.
Wow.
Because I want to lean a little bit for jiu-jitsu, actually.
Yeah.
Because just like Vic, I want to be in a good weight category for jiu-jitsu competition, but I still prioritize more protein just because my body is really weird with carbs. So I try to avoid carbs as much as I can. I go more fat and protein, good fat and protein.
Here's a question, and I've seen a few different things here, but obviously the older you get, your metabolism slows. And I've heard a lot of people just say like, oh, well, once you're past 40, you can't put on muscle. That's not true. Like that you can't put on muscle. Like, so what is it different about, say, being in your 40s than being younger? Like, how do you train differently?
It changes everything. And
how do you bend your diet?
So one of the things that I do that was a change in the game is TRT. It's just something that nowadays, if you are above 40, testosterone replacement.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So that's something important. If you are an athlete and you want to compete and stay focused and have a good recovery, TRT is super important. And there are very good clinics in Austin, the one that Joe Rogan goes, which is in Austin as well, very good. But I'm 50. I turned 50 last year in December. And if I think about when I started competing bodybuilding when I was 40 to 10 years later, is a huge difference that it makes 10 years later. Because my recovery is way slower. If I train hard, next day I'm really sore.
Yeah.
And nowadays I do 40 minutes fasting, empty stomach on my Stairmaster as soon as I wake up, 4:30 a.m. Then on Monday and Wednesday I go to judo at noon, and I lift at night. So I train 3 times on Monday and Wednesday. Tuesday and Thursday I do morning cardio and jiu-jitsu at night.
Okay.
But jiu-jitsu really breaks me down because it's a mix of strength, isometric movements, cardio. So if I have like 5 tough rows and I don't do more than 5 at night, next day I'm really sore, and it takes time to recover. So I think that the biggest difference with age is the recovery.
Yeah.
At least to me, that's what I noticed.
Man, when I saw Vic do testing, I think that was for the purple belt. Vic was a little while back, and I was blown away, man. That's brutal. Just throw after throw after move, all these things, and then it was like that in itself. It was like, my God, that's a lot. And then it was like, okay, now we're gonna roll for an hour nonstop. And I'm like, how are you? Yeah. How are you doing this, Vic? So I mean, it's impressive. I mean, the cardio is insane.
Took me 2 weeks. I felt like it took me 2 weeks to get back to where I felt good. Yeah, I would still go and show up to jiu-jitsu, and I would do maybe 3 rolls and just super light, just flow roll or something. But I was hurting, and I can tell a big difference because I started jiu-jitsu when I was 48, and so now I'm 52. I'll be 53 this year, and it's just that little space and time is a huge difference.
Wow.
Yeah, huge difference.
That's the frustrating thing I've noticed, and I just, you have to accept it. But I mean, I can get back in the swing of things pretty quick, and I can feel I can start running and feeling pretty good. My knees are not great, but I do like to run. But man, last time when I was actually being consistent with the gym and not even going super hard, but it's just like the problem is it's not like overlifting and feelings. It's my joints. That's what gets me, right? It's like no problem pushing X amount of weight, but I'm like, man, this is killing my elbows.
But the
or
joints,
something like that. That's what hurts.
I would say this: the joint is also the food because of the inflammation, right?
Yeah.
So you really have to watch out what you eat. I mean, food is one of the best medicine, man. If you are eating well, everything improves.
Yeah,
everything. Pain, soreness, everything improves. The food is your gasoline. Is what you put in your body to process everything. So once you go clean on your diet consistently, don't do this for 1 week and then over the weekend you go and can I have a cheating meal, right? And then becomes a cheating weekend. Right?
Do you have cheat meals though, Yuri? Like, are you
right now I try to do once a month. I try to stay consistent at least for a month because then I don't feel too much difference. Right? If I just cheat for one meal, like on Saturday night, I don't see a lot a difference.
But once your body's used to that, then you don't. Right. Then when you do that, you don't even feel good, right? Like if you were to go eat fast food right now, you would probably feel like absolute crap. So your body's just like, what is this poison you're putting in me?
Yeah. I would even say, because I started experimenting with this last month, 24-hour fast, right? So, first few hours, you start off like let's say, stop eating at 8 p.m. at night or something, and you go to bed. So 8 a.m., that's 12 hours, right? And then you don't eat until 8 p.m. that night. But during the day when you work out, don't get too crazy, but you feel your energy, it's just different. And then I've talked to other guys who've done like 5-day fasts. And so like after day 3, like their joints, the inflammation in their joints is gone. They're feeling good. And if you've got a little extra, if you've got a little extra around your belly, then your body starts converting fat. It starts burning fat. That's fuel, right? Because that's the only fuel source. But like I said, you can't get too crazy because you don't want to cannibalize your muscles. But I've been looking into that, and so I think I'm gonna try another go for a 3-day fast. I'm gonna try and do that here pretty soon.
Yeah, everyone is saying that it's a really good thing.
Yeah. Is that something you do, fasting?
I never did. To be honest, and I don't know. I heard many testimonials, just like Vic is saying, that it helps a lot, and I may try, but I never did. But I want you. I really want you to see how it feels, because everyone says the same thing. After day 1, I feel really good, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, let me know, Vic. Maybe I'll do that with you. I'm in kind of slipped a little bit, man. I had dropped a good amount of weight and got back under 200, and then it comes back on a lot easier than it goes off. But
now, one thing that I miss, I'm not gonna lie, because I like the taste, is beer. I miss beer a lot. I mean, summer last year I was in Germany, and to me is the best beer ever. German beer.
I do love some German beers.
Yeah, do you not drink it at all? Since January I haven't drink. So when I'm trying to stay lean, if I drink, it just derails everything. So I don't drink at all. My plan is that every summer I go to Europe with my family. So I save my drinking for that week that I'm in Europe. This year, for example, I'm going to see Iron Maiden in Portugal. So I plan to drink when I'm there. And then I come back and then I stop for 6 months, But
one thing I'm curious about,
I just love the taste.
Yeah.
Especially good beers. Man, I always notice, and I always notice though a big difference. I mean, one thing, it's like even just dropping beer and soft drinks, you're gonna drop weight. Like that is step 1, I think, right? And outside of the obvious like fast food and junk food and sweets and all that stuff, like, are there any foods? I mean, I think a lot of, we know there's superfoods, and like now seems like, these were bad and you don't want too many eggs and cholesterols or fat, but there's the good fats, avocados, and the superfoods, and eggs are good. I imagine protein, all that. What are there any foods that you would think like that are actually natural that are just really bad for the body in terms of gaining weight or maybe joint pain? Like, are there things you avoid or is it just carbs in general? I mean, obviously probably processed white rice and stuff you don't touch. But
I mean,
like,
bread,
are potatoes terrible?
I love bread. As a Brazilian, bread is I grew up with bread, right? So I love bread, and my wife makes bread. So I really try to avoid, just because I feel the inflammation. I feel swole my joints. So I try to avoid that.
Some folks avoid nightshades, so supposedly for some people, nightshades cause inflammation.
So the hell is that? I don't even know what that is.
It's going to be like your, was it peppers? It's a class of vegetables. I can't remember. Like, I remember Tom Brady talking about this. Like, he avoids nightshade vegetables because it causes inflammation in his body. So that's the only thing from a natural perspective I can think of.
Yeah.
But, but it may work for some people. Some people it may not work for. So.
Yeah, you're so right though. It's the gym, and I wish I could lift more, but then you eat, cheese when I can. It's like, all right, you're right. Diet. That's where everyone fails, is diet, including myself. And anytime I've been disciplined with it, that's when I see the results. The lifting is. What would you say the percentages of like being in the gym and lifting versus diet? I mean, is it 50-50 or is it 70-30?
70%? Yeah, 70% is food, because I try to compensate many times, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah,
it just does not, right? Because, for example, everyone says, well, if you eat less and you burn more calories, you're going to lose weight. Yeah, but it's not only about losing weight. It's about body composition.
Right.
Are you losing fat, and are you gaining muscle? Because muscle, sometimes you don't even see the scale moving, but your body looks completely different, just because you are gaining muscle, which weights, which compensates in the scale. So it's like, oh my God, I didn't lose any pound. But then you put a pair of jeans, like, wait a minute, it's losing here.
Yeah.
Right? So it's the body composition that changed. So that's the important thing. You have to watch out for your body composition.
Yeah. You can't out-trade a bad diet, right? So
you cannot.
Yeah.
I try many times. It doesn't work.
It's a good quote of the day right there, man. Can't out-train a bad diet. All right. Well, I feel like I'm motivated. I needed this podcast to be like, I gotta throw out the junk food and start overcoming my fat belly yet again.
Yeah, you talk about be in shape during tour. I mean, Zach, that guy is in shape, man. He's
no kidding.
He's very muscular. He's always has a good pump, and looks like he lifts some weight before I go to the show because he is always pumped.
Yeah. You know, I don't know if you've seen, like, he's got home videos. He's just got his home gym, you know, and he's working out and doing his thing. But
I can imagine how hard it is to be on diet during tour and not drinking and not, you know. So I think it takes a lot of discipline to do that.
It does. And I know a lot of musicians that have been sober for years and years because you fall down those pitfalls, and that's what they do. Like, they get into fitness, right? That's the substitute. It's like, I got to get rid of these vices, and then fitness becomes the positive, you know, outlet, the positive way to relieve stress and all that, and, you know, and all that stuff. And then, just like anything, I think it can become an addiction, right? I mean, in a good way, or anything can be too much, right? Like moderation, you gotta, you know, listen to your body and all that. But I was gonna say, I think Zach Wilde, I want to say he quit drinking,
but
like,
I think that for musician is tougher. For musician, in my opinion, is tougher because when you don't change your environment, no, and the environment is not even the schedule stuff, but the environment, right? You are surrounded by people that are drinking, smoking, and having bad habits, and you are there doing this whole routine just yourself.
I mean, it happened to me.
I admire the resilience there to not fall into those temptations.
Yeah, I mean, especially, like, you know, it happened to me a few years ago. I had been sober for 2 years, and then I toured, and I was like, night number 1, I was like, let's have a celebratory IPA. It's a free beer, and this is a super cool gig, dude. After I had 1 beer, and I drank the rest of the tour, man. You know, so
really,
but you know, so it's just like fasting, I guess. It's good sometimes to just go, all right, I'm gonna clean up. I'm gonna get, you know, try to get the toxins out. Like, I haven't had any alcohol since December, and once I get on that sober train, I like it, you know. So I may not be drinking for a while, but yeah, you're right. I mean, it takes discipline. Everything comes down to discipline, and nobody knows this better than you, Yuri. So
everyone asks me, how do you stay motivated? And I keep saying, quit thinking about motivation, because motivation comes and goes, right? You're not gonna wake up every day motivated, but that's where discipline kicks in. When I wake up 4:30 a.m., I don't wake up full of energy to do. I go because I have to. I have a commitment for myself to go to my garage and do my cardio 4:30 a.m. in the morning. So it's discipline. It's not motivation.
Yeah.
Motivation, you have to take advantage. When you are
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
When you are motivated, you have to do it more things, but discipline and consistency is what really pays off.
Yeah. Motivation runs out. It's like coffee, right?
Yeah.
It's the discipline.
Pre-workout. It's just a pre-workout, right?
Yeah. I saw a thing recently with Arnold Schwarzenegger. He said the same thing, and I'm sure he's been doing this his whole life, where he goes, he's like, I wake up at whatever it is, 5:36 in the morning. He's like, I don't think. I get up, I feed my animals, and I go work out. Like, that's just what I do. I don't think about anything. And then when you do that, you're good. Right? Easier said than done.
And actually, to me, is very important, because my first meeting at work is usually 6 a.m. or 6:30 a.m. because I have my team is in, most of my team is in Europe, Israel, Romania. So my meetings are very early, so I can catch the Europeans, and to me is how I get my blood flowing and active, and my mental focus is there, because I already did my workout.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I know you're up at the crack of dawn too, Vic. I mean, are you still rolling? Or are you still teaching at 6 in the morning?
I do. Yep.
Oh, really? You teach at 6 in the morning?
I do. Yeah, I'm the morning class guy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Beginner program. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. Deb was like, you could roll with Vic at 6 a.m. Yeah. We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah. Still waiting.
Yeah.
Is your gym in Austin or Round Rock, Vic?
Austin. Buda. South of Austin. Buda. Yeah.
South of Austin.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well,
cool, guys.
I don't want to keep you, man. I know you're a busy guy and you got to wake up. Both you guys, I guess, are probably waking up crazy early.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But Yuri, this was so great to have you back on, and I'm so glad that Vic, you guys knew each other. You came on. You were our very first guest, and here we are 5 years later, and we're about to release a song, and it's just really, really cool, man. So it's awesome having you back on and talking to you, dude. And obviously, we'll keep you posted. And let's talk real soon, just to kind of like tie up whatever we need to, and just for everybody out there. New song from A Good Rogering coming. Yuri right here wrote the lyrics, and I think everyone's really going to dig this song, man. I'm very proud of it.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to have this on my Spotify playlist for sure.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
That's it. All right. Till next time.
Hang tight.
Thank you, Yuri.
Thank you all.
Thanks a lot. And until next time. Thanks, guys.